man must do his bit with his comrades. Each man must do his bit for his land. Each must resolve to help another, learn to call his neighbor brother, and we do it, yes we can.
Each group must do its best for the region. Each group must do its best for the land. Each group must sacrifice. Let us cooperate for Guyana. Let us cooperate for our land. Let us resolve to fight together. See we do it right together. Can we do it? Yes, we can.
Each man must do his bit with his comrades. Each man must do his bit for his land. Each must resolve to help another, learn to call his neighbor brother, and we do it, yes we can.
Each group must do its best for the region. Each group must do its best for the land. Each group must sacrifice. Let us cooperate for Guyana. Let us cooperate for our land. Let us resolve to fight together. See we do it right together. Can we do it? Yes, we can.
Each man must do his bit with his comrades. Each man must do his bit for his land. Each must resolve to help another, learn to call his neighbor brother, and we do it, yes we can.
Each group must do its best for the region. Each group must do its best for the land. Each group must sacrifice. Let us cooperate for Guyana. Let us cooperate for our land. Let us resolve to fight together. See we do it right together. Can we do it? Yes, we can.
Each man must do his bit with his comrades. Each man must do his bit for his land. Each must resolve to help another, learn to call his neighbor brother, and we do it, yes we can.
Each group must do its best for the region. Each group
Honorable Minister of Education, Dr. Rupert Rupnarayan, Chief Education Officer, Mr. Olatu Sam, Deputy Chief Education Officer, Ms. Donna Chapman, Superintendent of Examinations, Ms. Sauda Kadir, officers of the Ministry of Education, members of the media. Good morning. On behalf of the Ministry of Education, I would like to welcome you all to this, our press conference, at which the Caribbean Secondary Education Certificate Education and the Caribbean Advanced Proficiency Examination results of Guyanese students for 2015 will be presented. For the benefit of all of us here, I would like to present the person sitting at the head table to you. On my extreme left, we have Ms. Donna Chapman, Deputy Chief Education Officer, Administration. To her left is Ms. Sauda Kadir, Superintendent of Examinations. Then we have our Honorable Minister of Education, Dr. Rupert Rupnarayan. And to his left, we have Chief Education Officer, Mr. Olatu Sam. At this time, I'm going to ask Honorable Minister of Education, Dr. Rupert Rupnarine, to make some remarks.
Thank you very much. The Ministry of Education is pleased to present the 2015 CAPE and CSEC results to the general public. The number of students opting to do CAPE continues to increase, which is highly encouraging. Although the number of students who would have written CSEC this year has decreased, we are told by the Chief Planning Officer that this is more reflective of demographic trends rather than any education-specific factors. We at the Ministry are encouraged by the overall performance of our students. Pass rates for both CAPE and CSEC continue to increase. As a ministry, we are focusing on ensuring that this trend continues, and we will certainly maintain the elements that seem to be working while implementing new strategies to boost performance nationally. Performance in the key areas of English language and mathematics have consistently improved over the last 3 years. And although we are by no means satisfied by the existing percentages, we are encouraged by the upward trend. And we will not cease our strategic interventions in these specific areas until these meet satisfactory output levels. Clearly, greater emphasis needs to be placed on the sciences. We have seen some improvements. However, this year, some of the science subjects have slipped. We hope this is a one-off phenomenon. The CEO has assured me that this is what it is, and that our efforts in the discrete sciences will begin to bear fruit in the not-too-distant future. I'm particularly pleased with our performance in the technical and vocational subject areas. I would like to see more emphasis placed on these areas of pursuit since they have direct national developmental implications. You will certainly, over the coming weeks, hear more from me in this regard. As you are aware, I am personally concerned about equity factors and would like to see the disparity that exists between our coastal and hinterland schools decrease significantly. A great deal of attention will be given to this aspect of the education system. As a direct incentive, I would like to announce the inclusion of an additional award this year. The best performing student from the hinterland regions will receive a scholarship to the University of Guyana. We are this year initiating the Desiree Fox Award. As people know, I am not one who gets overly excited by the high number of subjects our students write. However, I have to say that our students have been consistently topping the Caribbean with their exceptional performances, and I am highly encouraged by our performance this year in relation to both CAPE and CSEC. I would like to congratulate all of our students and teachers for their hard work. We want to see higher numbers of students matriculating because this is the crux of it. So I encourage our teachers to continue their efforts, which are so vital to building this nation that we all love so dearly. I would now like to invite the Chief Education Officer to give you specific information in relation to this year's performance. I don't want to conclude my remarks without saying, as I've said time and time again, that we want, in addition to everything we do in the classrooms, to ensure that our parents are more involved, actively involved in the education of their children. I believe that with the full engagement and participation of our parents, our teachers will be more stimulated to bring about what needs to happen in the classrooms. So I have said this and said this and said this, and I will continue to say it for as long as we are articulating education policy at the ministry. I thank you very much.
Honorable Minister of Education, Dr. Rupert Narain, Deputy Chief Education Officer, Ms. Donna Chapman, Assistant Chief Education Officer, Secondary, Ms. Charles, Superintendent of Exams, Ms. Kadir, other officers in the Ministry of Education, members of the media, the general public at large. It gives me great pleasure to present to you this year's CAPE and CSEC results. In May-June 2015, 961 candidates from 9 secondary schools and 5 private centers wrote the Caribbean Advanced Proficiency Examination in Guyana. These 14 examination centers were Mackenzie High School, Berbice High, New Amsterdam Multilateral, President's College, Saraswati Vidya Niketan, the Bishop's High School, Queen's College, St. Joseph's High, St. Rose's High, St. Stanislaus College, the New Guyana School, the Adult Education Association, and private Chase Academy and Guyana's private Theatre Guild, which certainly had a number of candidates in the area of theatre arts, performing arts, sorry. The numbers, as Minister would have mentioned, have increased over 2014, when we had only 798 candidates. We now have 961 this year. And so our subject entries would have increased to 4,265 as opposed to 3,465 last year. Our candidates wrote had entries in 29 discrete subject areas. And it is commendable to state that our overall pass rate is 87.54%, improved from 85.07 in 2014. The gender distribution of the overall pass rate is 35.2% males and 64.8% females. We secured 100% passes, grades 1 to 5. As you know, the results of the Caribbean Advanced Proficiency Examination are reported on a 7-point scale. Grades 1 to 7. Candidates obtaining grades 1 to 5 have attained an acceptable standard for matriculation purposes, with grade 1 representing an excellent performance, while grades 2 and 3 represent very good and good standards of performance, respectively. In 2015, there was a slight decrease in our grade 1 performances, but increases in grades 2 and 3 across the board. As I mentioned, we received a 100% pass rate in agriculture science, art and design, unit 1 and 2, food and nutrition, unit 1, geography, unit 1 and 2, information technology, unit 1 and 2, Spanish, unit 1 and 2, physical education and sports, unit 1 and 2, entrepreneurship, units 1 and 2, tourism, units 1 and 2, accounting, unit 2, computer science, unit 2, electrical and electronic technology, unit 2, food and nutrition, unit 2, digital media, unit 2, and performing arts, unit 2, which is cinematic arts, dance, and drama. 100% passes in those areas at Cape. Agriculture science, units 1 and 2, entrepreneurship, unit 1 and 2, physical education and sports, unit 1 and 2, and performing arts, unit 1 and 2, and tourism, units 1 and 2, were written for the first time in 2015, and I must say 100% pass was secured in all of these units, except agriculture science, unit 2, where the pass rate was 95.45%. Increases in the pass rate were recorded at 6 schools. namely the Bishop's High, New Amsterdam Multilateral, Queen's College, St. Joseph's High, St. Stanislaus College, and President's College. The Bishop's High moved from 91.27% in 2014 to 95.38% in 2015. New Amsterdam Secondary improved from 75.55% in 2014 to 79.43% in 2015. St. Stanislaus College showed significant improvement from 64.34% in 2014 to 84.91% in 2015. Mackenzie High, however, recorded a relatively constant pass rate in the 2 years, 89.56% in 2014 and 89.7% in 2015, while Queen's College gained 92.9% in 2014 and 95.15% in 2015. Borby's High and St. Rose's High both recorded a decline in their pass rates for 2015. Borby's High moved from 92.31% to 70.59% in 2015. St. Rose's pass rate declined from 87.63% in 2014 to 82.29% in 2015. 101 private candidates offered 311 subject entries in 2015, and I must highlight the efforts of both the Adult Education Institution, Adult Education Association, I should say, and Theatre Guild in preparing their candidates for CAPE. A comprehensive report in relation to our CAPE performance has already been distributed to members of the media, so you can certainly have that information at your fingertips, or will be distributed in a minute, as will be the CSEC results I'm about to read now. In 2015, as Minister mentioned, there was a decrease in the number of candidates who wrote the Caribbean Secondary Education Certificate examination. In 2014, there were 13,724 candidates. In 2015, there were 12,606 candidates, representing 77,361 subject entries and 70,908 subject entries, respectively, for the 2 years being compared. There were, in 2015, 4,506 males, 8,100 females. And certainly the gender disparity is something that we at the Ministry of Education would have noted and will be addressing quite seriously. The analysis of the 2015 CSEC results revealed that the overall pass rate at the general and technical proficiencies for grades 1 to 3 was 82.72%, up from 60.21% in 2014. Candidates wrote 35 subjects. Of these subjects, results indicated excellent performances in 15 subjects, which were Agriculture Science double award, Agriculture Science single award, Clothing and Textiles, Economics, Home Economics Management, Information Technology, Office Administration, Principles of Business, Religious Education, Theater Arts, Electronic Document Preparation and Management, Physical Education and Sport, Additional Mathematics, Building Technology Construction, and Building Technology Woods, where our pass rates exceeded 75%. Satisfactory performances were recorded in 13 subjects, namely Biology, Caribbean History, English B, Food and Nutrition, French, Geography, Integrated Science, Principles of Accounts, Social Studies, Spanish, Technical Drawing, Electrical and Electronic Technology, and Mechanical Engineering Technology. I must note that the English A pass rate is 49.36%, up from 46.98% in 2014 and 45.69% in 2013. Mathematics pass rate is 45.07%, up from 38.75% in 2014 and 28.92% in 2013. Our overall performances in chemistry, physics, visual arts, and human and social biology need some work. Areas that we certainly need to focus some more effort in raising our output. Performance in English B remained relatively constant. In 2014, the grade 1 to 3 passes were 61.45%. In 2015, it is 61.76%. As Minister mentioned, excellent performances were recorded in agriculture science, both single and double award. And there was a general decline in grade 1 to 3 passes in biology, chemistry, and physics as compared to 2014. Our business education subjects continue to do well, and satisfactory performances were recorded in Caribbean history and geography, where the pass rate for Caribbean history improved from 56.39% in 2014 to 59.7% in 2015, and there was a similar increase in our pass rate for geography. I would now like to give you an indication of our performance as per schools attaining an average pass rate of 60% or more across the respective regions. In Region 1, there was Santa Rosa Secondary School that actually attained a pass rate of 62.6%. And that certainly is commendable. In Region 2, Anna Regina Secondary, 79.72, and Abramsville Secondary at 73.74%. Region 3, West Demerara Secondary, 86.52%, Zeeburg Secondary at 79.2%, and Legwan Secondary at 76.7%. And Region 4, President's College, 87.9%, Annandale Secondary, 81.3%, Hope Secondary, 75.16%, Diamond Secondary, 74.6%, Suesdyke Secondary, 67.3%, Covent Garden Secondary, 61.2%, and Bedford Acting Secondary at 60.6%. In Region 5, Bajabal Secondary at 70.1%, and Fort Wellington Secondary at 60.5%. In Region 6, Berbice High, 86.9%. New Amsterdam Multilateral at 82.9%. Skeldon Line Path Secondary, 77.1%. J.C. Chandersingh Secondary, 70.7%. Quarantine Comprehensive Secondary, 70%. Tagore Secondary, 69.5%, and Kanchi Secondary at 60.8%. Region 9, St. Ignatius Secondary had a 63.1% overall pass rate. In Region 10, Mackenzie High at a 77.4%, and Christianburg Wismer Secondary School at 62.4%. In Georgetown, the Bishop's High at 97.4%, Queen's College 94.5%, St. Stanislaus 93.1%, St. Joseph's High 92.7%, St. Rose's 89.3%, Central High 65.7%, Brickdam Secondary at 80.3%, Christchurch Secondary 72.2%, Tutorial High 71.6%, and North Georgetown Secondary at 70.9%. Those were the schools that had an above 60% pass rate nationally. Full analysis of the individual candidates' performances is not yet available. We have requested, however, a list of candidates who have secured grade 1 passes in 8 or more subjects from the Caribbean Examinations Council in relation to CSEC. And I'd like to now address both our individual performances for both CAPE and CSEC in this segment. I must also say, I must emphasize the point that the information we're giving here in no way indicates the ranking that the Caribbean Examinations Council will certainly have for students. All I'm presenting here today are the students and the number of subjects that they would have written and passed, the students with the highest cumulative numbers in that regard. Several candidates recorded outstanding performances at this year's Caribbean Advanced Proficiency Examination. Among the top performers are Cecil Cox of Queen's College, Larissa Wiltshire and Sasha Woodruff, also of Queen's College, and Shanta Noel of St. Rose's High, who secured grade 1 passes in 6 units. Cecil Cox of Queen's College received a grade 1 in Communication Studies, Applied Mathematics, Chemistry, Pure Mathematics, Physics, Digital Media, and a grade 3 in Computer Science. Larissa Wilshire received grade 1s in Applied Mathematics, Biology, Caribbean Studies, Chemistry, Environmental Science, and Pure Mathematics. Sasha Woodruff of Queen's College received grade 1s in Accounting, Units 1 and 2, Communication Studies, Applied Mathematics, Economics, and Pure Mathematics. And Shanta Noel of St. Rose's received grade 1s in Caribbean Studies, Tourism, Accounting, Law, Management of Business, Entrepreneurship, and a grade 2 in Economics. Other outstanding performers were Janelle Europe of Queen's College with 5 grade 1s and 1 grade 2, Elisa Hamilton of Queen's College with 5 grade 1s and 2 grade 2s, Lisa John of Queen's College with 5 grade 1s and 1 grade 2, Sharmila Ramlal, also of Queen's College, 5 grade 1s, 1 grade 2, and Regine Saw of Queen's College with 5 grade 1s, 2 grade 2s, and 1 grade 3. I must also mention the performances of Amanda Singh, who received 5 grade 1s, Nabiha Ali, who also received 5 grade 1s, and Felipe Walker, who received 5 grade 1s, 2 grade 2s, and 2 grade 3s, also students of Queen's College. As it relates to CSEC, of these 47 candidates securing 11 grade 1s or more, I'd like to certainly mention some of the top performers, if not all 47. I see a minister who is not a fan of this part of the presentation asking me to move this along. So our best performing student is Victoria Najab of Saraswat Vidya Niketan, who received 20 grade 1s. Vamanad Hiralal of Saraswat Vidya Niketan received 19 grade 1s and 1 grade 2. Aliyah Rashid of Anna Regina Secondary received 19 grade 1s. Joshana Hopkinson of Queen's College received 18 grade 1s. Ashley Anthony of Queen's College received 17 grade 1s. Chagindra Prasad of Anna Regina Secondary received 16 grade 1s and 2 grade 2s. Abigail Somra of Queen's College received 16 grade 1s. Paige Carter of Queen's College received 14 grade 1s and 5 grade 2s. Kadish Daniels of Queen's College received 14 grade 1s and 3 2s. Sean Shuram of St. Rose's High received 14 1s and 2 2s. Michael Jagnanan of Queen's College received 14 grade 1s and 1 grade 2. Mohani Sudama of Saraswat Vidya Niketan received 14 grade 1s and 1 grade 2. Shannon Woodruff, Queen's College, 14 1s. Hemwant Siodat of Saraswat Vidya Niketan received 13 grade 1s and 4 grade 2s and 3 3s. Simon Bakhtawar of New Amsterdam Secondary received 13 grade 1s, 4 2s. Parmeshri Ramprasad of Saraswat Vidya Niketan received 13 1s, 3 2s, and 3 3s. Nashani Nandalal of Saraswat Vidya Niketan received 13 1s, 2 2s, and 1 3. Darnell Ben of Queen's College, 13 1s, 2 2s. Patricia Ramsarup, Saraswat Vidya Niketan, 13 1s, 1 2, 1 3. Davish Bigamber of Queen's College, 12 1s, 6 2s, 1 3. Ashmini Prasad of Skeldon Line Park Secondary, 12 1s, 5 2s. Kuber Mohan of Anurjaya Secondary, 12 1s, 3 2s, 1 3. Aliyah Williams of Queen's College, 12 1s, 3 2s. Simone Ned of Queen's College, 12 1s, 2 2s. Vishal Rupnarayan of the Bishop's High, 12 1s, 2 2s. Gia Adams of Queen's College, 12 1s, 2 2s. Aliyah Gordon of Queen's College, 12 1s, 1 2. Shanaz Khan of Annandale Secondary, 12 1s. Joash Gobin, Queen's College, 12 1s. Jonathan Gobin, also of Queen's College, 12 1s. And Satish Prasad, of West Damarara Secondary, 12 1s. Comprehensive list of all of these students will be submitted, will be handed out to the media so that you can follow up as you certainly see fit. So I'd like to congratulate those particular students. That concludes our presentation of the information in relation to this year's performance. We are certainly open to any questions you might have in that regard. Thank you very much.
Good news source. I'm just trying to get some information in this school, South Swat Nicotan. Could you indicate which region the school is located? Give us. It's the first time I think a lot of persons are hearing about it.
It's in Region 3. I think they've been performing creditably over a number of years. It's a private secondary school, both at CSEC and grade 6 over the last few years.
Okay, and could you indicate to us in terms of ranking, what does the ministry look at with regard to the ranking of these secondary schools? Because based on the overall pass rate, we're seeing the Bishop's High School outperforming Queen's College. So will that be used now as a yardstick to determine which would be the top secondary schools in the country? What exactly do you look at to determine the top schools?
Okay, so it's a combination of factors, not just general overall pass rate. We look at the number of students passing, certainly. We look at the number of students who have attained the milestone, the matriculation requirements of 5 subjects inclusive of mathematics and English. We look at the programs being offered both at CSEC and CAPE, performances at both levels. And then we that performance over a period of time, not just one. And so those factors collectively determine the ranking of the senior secondary schools. With regards to the other schools that do not write CAPE, we certainly look at the matriculation information over a 3 to 5 year period.
Although, sir, we're seeing improvements at the mathematics and English levels, they're still below the 50% mark. Just yesterday, the government announced the Commission of Inquiry to address that issue. One, do you think that is the only way we can address this issue? We know of the problem for years. Do we think we really need a commission to tell us the impasse in math and English? And to what exactly, Minister Roopnaraine, do you think ought to be addressed with regard to these two core subjects?
So I think a number of years, right here, Gordon, you would recall that we sat in this room at this forum and we committed as a ministry that these figures would rise. When math was at an abysmal 28%, we told you that we were taking specific strategic steps to ensure that our overall performance in mathematics would increase. Last year, we saw some of that improvement. We see it again this year. We'll continue the work that we're doing. There are no quick fixes. We have said quite openly that we're not pleased with the level, but we will work very hard to get it to where it needs to be. And we're not celebrating by any stretch of the imagination, but as Minister said, we're encouraged by the trend, and we have some additional strategic interventions that you'll be made aware of that we hope will take us certainly to the next level. But I'll have Minister also speak.
The idea of the Commission of Inquiry is to really not deal with exam performance and so on. It really is to give parents, members of the community, students, an opportunity throughout the country to essentially make presentations in relation to the educational system. My own feeling is that if the Commission were to go throughout the country and take this evidence from the population, compile their report, and make recommendations, what we will see is that the kind of educational reform that we are committed to putting through is going to be based on real evidence and real data. I don't think that we can, with the best will in the world, design an educational reform process out of our heads. That's something I think that really has to be based on the experience of people and the evidence that the Commission will put together. So the Commission doesn't have a narrow focus. And as you know, I've expressed my dissatisfaction with the fact that the schools, the classrooms are devoted almost exclusively to academic instruction. And I myself want to see a far more rounded education in the schools. So all of that is the kind of inquiry that will take place. To what extent do we believe that bringing music back into the schools will produce a more rounded child? To what extent do we believe that enhancing physical education, encouraging sports in the schools is going to result in a better educated person? My own feeling is that there are big gaps there that we need to look at. And my hope is that over the next few years, this is not magic. It's not going to something we can do in a few weeks. But based on everything we hear in the Commission, based on the audit findings that we have in actual fact are now on my desk, based on all of these things, we will be able to design an educational reform process that will address the key areas that need to be addressed in the educational system.
And finally, from me, sir, do you think there might be the need to limit the number of subjects we're seeing students write at these exams? Because we're still facing the math and English problem, but they're doing well in
It's a
12 other subjects.
It's a complicated issue. My own feeling is, and I mean, from some very old-fashioned ideas about curriculum, is that there has been, to my mind, a real dilution of the curriculum, and that the reason a student is able to cope with that number of subjects is because I believe the intensity of the curriculum is not there, that I believe there has been too much dilution. But that's something that I am planning to sit down and discuss with my education officers, people with a lot more experience in the ministry than I have, and to together have a serious look at this and see what kind of improvements we want to make. My own feeling is that classrooms and schools have to provide more than really outstanding academic performance. That we want. Don't make any mistake about that. But my feeling is that that does not speak to the complete education of the complete child.
Mondale Smith, Kaicho News. Just checking quickly, Mr. Olato Sam, you made a reference to the imbalance, for want of a better term, or as it relates to gender, when it comes to education in terms of the exam results and exam in itself, those that are sitting the exams. What is or what are the measures that you are working on at present to address this issue? Because as we are fully aware, when we look at the front pages, our young men are generally not interested in education. What are you doing to make sure that that is somewhat rejuvenated?
Before Mrs. Sam addressed it, let me tell you that that phenomenon is not limited to Guyana. That is something that we are seeing across the region, and we are seeing it globally. I mean, if you look at what is happening in the advanced countries, as we deem them, you see the same phenomenon. The young women are really outstripping the boys and males by really quite a large margin. I think this is a problem for sociologists. I think we need to subject it to serious investigation. And as I say, we must not run away with the idea that this is something that is only affecting us here in Guyana. This is a global and regional phenomenon, and we need to look at it in all of its dimensions. I was just speaking to Ms. Kadir about it. I mean, it's clear when you look and see what is happening in relation to output that the girls are far outstripping the boys in relation to performance. It's a complex issue, and it's certainly one that deserves a lot of attention.
Did the minister cover it?
Yeah,
Or you have something else to say?
Well, we've recognized that in the Guyana context, which I think is where you were going.
Because I noted that just coming from Suriname, that the men are not opting to seek tertiary education, and that is an issue that has been, the Caribbean Development Bank also spoke about the need for people to get involved in more tech voc subjects and so on, because of the fact that the boys are somehow not interested in education. What is the Guyana scenario in terms of what we propose to do, noting that the Caribbean and the world has an issue?
Okay, so over the last 4 years, we have been able to retain a larger percentage of our males going through to fifth form. When we look to the numbers, there's a recognizable difference. A number of factors we feel would have contributed to that. Largely, as you mentioned, the bolstering of our TVET offerings and the expansion of some other areas. But we feel that there is a more integral element to this that speaks to the nature of schooling in general. The fact that the overwhelming majority of our teachers are female, the structure of the nature of delivery in our classroom and some other pedagogical practices. And we are certainly quite aware that the research has shown us that where other methods are used, particularly when you have male teachers in the classrooms and certainly the way that education is delivered, boys seem to gravitate to the educational experience more. And so a whole range, as Minister mentioned, a whole range of factors have to come together to address it at the lower level. But also, as Minister pointed out, there are other external social factors that have to address the issue when males get to the secondary level as to whether they will remain in school and see education as a viable option or opt to do other things outside of school. So I think this will require a broad-based kind of multi-sectoral approach to addressing this issue, particularly as it relates to the factors that impact on this at the secondary level. But at the lower levels, I think there's more to have boys have a better quality experience while they're in primary and nursery school.
Understanding what you just stated, just for clarification, I'm asking, you're saying you're thinking and you're thinking and you're thinking, but is there a program in place to deal with this issue as opposed to just thinking and thinking?
Well, yeah, well, there are a number of things that I said we would have attempted to do already. We looked at TVET. The last study that was done by Mr. Bristol is suggesting to us quite clearly, we've studied that we have to address the pedagogical factors, which certainly is something that we've been doing at the level of the teacher training institution. It is an area that is emphasized. We want to look at enhancing delivery in some of the other areas, as Minister mentioned, the arts and sports and other things, to keep our males more interested in schooling. And so those things will happen. To say that there is one comprehensive program, such does not exist. It's a mosaic of various elements being brought together to try to address this issue.
Okay, if I would be permitted to ask one other question as it relates to, the numbers are extremely high coming out of the two exams, CAPE as well as CSEC. Let's say on average, 1/3 of the lot heads to university. What happens with the others? Employment-wise, I'm talking about.
Well, we don't have a track mechanism in place right now to see exactly where our graduates go. We do know that our numbers, as I mentioned, at CAPE have been increasing, which suggests to us that larger numbers of our students want to remain within this system. We know that larger numbers of our students have been applying to go to universities both locally and abroad. And so we don't have exact numbers in relation to that. But so I can't give you a definitive answer as to where our students all go. I think our recent labor market survey that was conducted by TVET Council certainly will have information to guide us in relation to what the market out there is saying in relation to who's coming to them and what skill sets they're coming with, etc. We have yet to really go through that information and make it, but as soon as we do, certainly we'll share that with all of you.
Shanza Samuels from NCN. Sir, based on your assessment that was done, I know you had some concerns in terms of the results coming out of the hinterland, but based on your assessment, how well did our hinterland students did?
Okay, let me just say from the outset, there's a lot of work to be done to improve this. But when we can see a school like Santa Rosa Secondary improving their performance over time so significantly, I've also noticed that Bartica Secondary and 3 Miles Secondary have shown improvements. We've noted certainly that St. Ignatius Secondary is getting it right and has been improving also. It indicates to us that there's some elements there that can be replicated. But again, this is not a secondary issue. a lot of these factors depend on the quality of education that our children are receiving in the hinterland at the lower levels. And we saw improvements generally at the grade 6 assessment in Region 9. We now want to replicate some of the things we would have done in Region 9, 7, and 1. And so that, 3 years from now, 4 years from now, when we talk about CSEC, you can see a similar type of growth at the higher levels. And so our approach now is to look at this very comprehensively, not to tinker with hinterland education, but to have a rather comprehensive approach to how we improve the performance across the board. Region 8 is a particularly difficult kind of scenario because of some deep geographical and other elements going on in that region. And so a specific plan will have to be actually worked out for that region. But I think some of the things that we're seeing in regions 1, 7, and 9 are sufficient to indicate to us we have a base from which we certainly expect to see, better performances.
Well, if there are no more questions and we have satisfied your curiosity, I want to thank you all for having come. And I know that broadcasting this information and getting it across to parents and students, results are eagerly awaited, as they always are. And I hope that there will be more joy than tears in the homes across the country.
Sorry, I'd just like to mention, and I know members of the media will be bombarded with complaints as a result of this, that at 10 p.m., CSEC grades will be available online. As our practice has been over the years, we will block the students who have not yet returned their textbooks and other resources institutions simply because we feel very strongly totally unfair to the students coming through the system for you to use the resources and not return them to give them a chance at the education that you received. And so that practice will be continued. And so I just wanted to make that very clear so everyone is aware as to what it is we're doing and why we're doing it. Well, at the private schools, those institutions have reasons why they would have blocked students from accessing their grades. I can't speak on those. But for our public school students, our policy has been once you return all of the resources you've been given, we will certainly release your information.
Let us cooperate for Guyana. Let us cooperate for our land. Let us resolve to fight together. See we do it right together. Can we do it? Yes, we can.
Each man must do his bit with his comrades. Each man must do his bit for Each must resolve to help another, learn to call his neighbor brother, and we do it, yes we can.
Each group must do its best for the region. Each group must do its best for the land. Each group must sacrifice a little, learn to do without a little. Can we do it? Yes, we can. The regions must unite for the country. The regions must unite for our land. Each region has its chosen mission, but